Today, we are really digging into something fascinating. It's a breakdown from Nug Notes titled Idriss Qibaa, the social media extortionist who snitched on himself.
Yeah, that title alone, right? It tells you you're in for a story.
It really does.
So our plan, our mission, if you like, is to unpack this whole thing. We're looking at what exactly Qibaa did, the sheer scale of it all.
How he operated.
Right, how he pulled it off. And of course, we have to get to that, well, that unbelievable moment where his own words basically took him down.
It's definitely a modern crime story. You've got big money, scary threats, online platforms, and just a jaw-dropping twist.
Absolutely.
Okay, so let's jump right in. According to this Nug Notes breakdown, who was this guy, Idriss Qibaa?
So the report says he's originally from Morocco, but was operating out of Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And he set up this business called Unlocked for Life.
Unlocked for life.
Okay. Yeah. And the front was that it was a legit service. Yeah, helping people get their accounts back on Instagram, Telegram, TikTok, places like that.
Ugh, the classic account recovery service. But that wasn't the real deal, was it? What was actually happening?
Not even close, no. Behind that name, Unlocked for Life, it was this pretty sophisticated extortion racket and incredibly profitable.
How profitable are we talking?
The Nug Notes report states he was pulling in, get this, $600,000 a month.
$600,000 a month. Wow.
Yeah. He wasn't recovering accounts for victims. He was hijacking them, taking them over, and then basically forcing people to pay huge ransoms to get access back.
So he created the problem himself using, I guess, digital tools and then charged people a fortune for the fix. That's audacious.
Chillingly so. And the Nug Notes piece makes it clear this wasn't just, simple account theft either. It got much worse.
How so?
Well, while he had this public image of, helping people or boosting followers, his actual methods got really nasty really fast. He'd force platform bans on people's accounts. He used doxxing tools.
Which is publishing someone's private info, right? It's exactly. Gathering and dumping private details online. And he used TLO lookups, too. These are specialized database searches for really personal data. And he used all that info to make threats. Serious, terrifying threats.
And these weren't just empty online threats, I take it.
No, definitely not. The analysis points out how physical fear became a key tactic. There's this disturbing example in the notes about a dentist in Beverly Hills.
Okay.
Received over 700 violent messages, including death threats, things like, "You're dead, dog fucking dead." Qibaa's methods apparently included showing up in person sometimes, vandalizing cars, even stalking victims' families.
I know.
The Nug Notes used this phrase. They said it invoked Sinaloa-level terror, like cartel-level intimidation. This was way beyond standard online harassment. It was about making people genuinely fear for their safety.
Okay, so this guy is running this huge, profitable, and frankly terrifying operation, both online and spilling into the real world.
Right.
Which brings us to the craziest part. How did he get caught with all that going on? Right. This is the core of the Nug Notes piece, and it's just wild. So January 2024, Qibaa, using the alias Dani, he decides to go on a podcast, a pretty well-known one, No Jumper, hosted by Adam22.
Wait. He went on a public podcast and talked about his criminal activities?
Talked about it. He boasted about it openly, admitted to extorting over 200 people, said these incredibly arrogant things like, "You make $2 off IG, I take it and make you pay."
No way.
Yes. And then in this moment of just stunning hubris, he basically dared law enforcement, said something like, "Kill me, that's the only option." Like he thought he was completely untouchable.
Wow. So he laid out his entire criminal enterprise, essentially confessed live on a podcast. What happened next?
Well, according to the breakdown, that public boasting, recorded for everyone, seems to have been the direct trigger. By April 2024, just a few months later, the FBI had opened a case on him.
Okay.
Then, July 29th, they raided his home. The notes mention his wife and young child were actually there during the raid.
And the legal hammer came down pretty quickly after that.
It did. He was facing multiple, very serious charges. Stalking, extortion, money laundering, making threats. By February 2025, he pled guilty.
He pled guilty.
Yep. And then just recently, May 22nd, came the sentence. 36 months, 3 years in federal prison, plus 3 years supervised release after that, a $75,000 fine, and importantly, ordered to pay $200,000 back to his victims in restitution.
So his own words, his own boasting on that podcast.
Sealed his fate.
Yeah.
As the Nug Notes piece put it, yeah, his own mouth did him in.
Unbelievable. So just to recap this whole wild ride, Idriss Qibaa builds this massive, terrifying online extortion business, making huge sums of money.
Through truly awful digital and physical threats.
Right, but then his own decision to go on a public podcast and just brazenly brag about it all, that directly leads the FBI to him, leads to his arrest, conviction, years in prison, and big financial penalties.
Yeah, the impact was just huge. You had victims who lost their accounts, their income in some cases, their peace of mind. They lived in actual terror. And then you have platforms like Meta who sued him separately, which kind of shines a light not just on him, but maybe on vulnerability these platforms need to think about too.
This a whole deep dive, it really underscores how fast online crime can escalate into real-world fear. And I guess how accountability can sometimes show up in the most unexpected ways in this digital age.
It absolutely does. And it leaves you with a pretty interesting thought, doesn't it? I mean, in a world where so many of us share so much online, where it feels like the microphone is always on through social media, streaming, podcasts like this,
Huh.
how does that change the whole idea of self-incrimination?
That's a great point. What does this specific story tell you, listening right now, about how digital identity, crime, and these huge public platforms we all use,
Hmm.
how do they intersect? Something to think about.